Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Teresa Conroy-Roth, and you are watching the very next episode of the Lightning Leadership Series. My guest today is Steve Lodin, and Steve is all sorts of things cybersecurity and cloud. And so I've invited Steve to be on our guest today. Steve, I've known him for a number of years through multiple organizations, and he is my subject matter expert go-to person in this particular space. So, Steve, welcome to Lightning Leadership.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So the topic today is going to be cloud tips, tricks, best practices. I know you've recently went through a project like this, and also have become an SME. So tell us all everything you know.
Well, Sallie Mae is 100% in the cloud, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we got there.
Okay.
This is normally an hour presentation that I've given to multiple different national organizations, so I'm going to shrink that down as best I can.
Okay.
Sallie Mae split about 10 years ago now into Sallie Mae and Navient. If you guys remember that, the building name changed on 116th and 69th.
Yes.
As part of that, Sallie Mae became the bank. We are a bank, among other things. Navient is working on federal student loan financing, and Sallie Mae is a bank. We originally had UPromise, but in that process of splitting the company, we went from always on-prem, we do everything ourselves in IT, to we support the cloud. We had a managed data center, and we had cloud SaaS applications like ServiceNow, Workday, and Office, Microsoft 365.
Sure.
Pretty traditional. After 5 years of being in a managed data center, where we didn't have the best relationship with the MSP, we decided we were going to move to the cloud. That took us probably 2 years of prepping our regulators, the FDIC, on what we were going to do to make sure that they felt comfortable with our skills and maturity in making the move to the cloud. The cloud 5 years ago was still a little sketchy, security, operations, everything. Once we started that move to the cloud, we basically did a lift and shift methodology. We took all our managed data center assets and moved them into AWS, stripped off the managed data center provider stuff, added Amazon stuff, and so lifted and shifted. In the time that we've been doing the cloud on that side for infrastructure assets, we've started to move to a more microserviced, micro-segmented workload environment. We spent time on the security side a little apprehensive in doing that. We talked with Todd Grotenhuis, who was at NextGen, and we were really successful at understanding this scalability with workloads, and in doing a managed landing zone with strong configuration, golden images, and all the governance on top of it, we've been successful. We've gone from our initial implementation of 25 AWS accounts to now well over 200 as we split off our workloads and given each one of those a dev, test, and prod accounts in AWS. On the security side, it's huge for microsegmentation.
Yeah.
You can't go between different environments without having specific rules put in place. So we're really happy on that side. On the SaaS side, again, we've added more cloud SaaS applications and taken some things off-prem. On the security piece, it's a cloud SIEM. We've got, cloud asset and consoles. There's no hardware anymore in consoles. On the security side, on the IT side, our website is now an Adobe Experience Manager. Our customer CRM tools are not on-prem anymore. They're off in Salesforce. So we're really 100%
You really are
in the cloud.
You really are. Is there anything that you might have done different looking back?
Well, one of the things that we did do, and I don't think I'd say do it differently, but do it more, is put in golden rules in place as we moved the assets into the cloud from a security perspective. So we talked about encryption everywhere. logging everything,
Mhm.
microsegmentation, which was early zero trust methodology, basically, before it became zero trust. We definitely had a little bit of uncomfortability with our regulators on knowing exactly what we were doing at the time. Public S3 buckets with losing data was top of the mind.
Yeah.
So we made sure we had a CSPM, Cloud Security Posture Management tool, in place to validate that the configs that we were enforcing were compliant. MFA everywhere, DLP where possible. We had a whole bunch of golden rules. I would have spent a little bit more time configuring and identifying those in more detail, but as a whole, we felt really comfortable and have since not had any issues on the security side.
Awesome. Steve, thank you so much. Great information. How can people find you?
Well, to my people I know, I LinkedIn. Let me know that you saw this here, and I'll link in with you. You can get a hold of me there. Otherwise, in town in any of the security groups, I'm also a member there. Lots of good colleagues and peers here in town who also know how to get a hold of me.
That sounds great. So if you like what you see, please repost or like here on LinkedIn. If you're seeing this on YouTube, if you could comment or like or subscribe, that would be awesome too. Steve Lodin, thank you again for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.
You're welcome.